Hi, and welcome to another episode of Coffee and Lipstick with Neha. I'm your host, Neha Karina. You know what's a very exciting moment of a girl's life? Their wedding. It's a dream wedding or a small wedding, whatever you prefer. In our national problems right now today is COVID-19, which is very unfortunate. And a lot of us are pondering what is going to happen to our future. Should we still continue our life-saving wedding? A lot of you save up for this moment. Or should we just slow down and have a COVID-19 wedding, a small intimate family wedding? I'm here with Tricia, who I think all of you should know her. I call her a national icon for weddings. She has done over 300 weddings, a lot of huge weddings, a lot of COVID-19 weddings, and I think she's on a snap of a finger, she's on it. So my advice to you is to grab a cup of coffee and wait for it. Weddings, weddings, weddings. It's all about weddings. From June to July is the most heaviest month for any bride and groom, especially for people behind the cameras for weddings. What is more important right now to speak to is events by Tricia. Of course, welcome.
Thank you, Neha. Thanks for having me.
So let's go to the core. You just told me that, I'm not really a frontal person. You're not sure what you're doing here, but you're here. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into the weddings.
Well, as you introduced to your viewership, I am Tricia. I am Events by Tricia. I have been in the business for over 10 years now. Before that, I have always been in the customer service business. So my entire career has spanned working with people. So the progression with me having gone out on my own and becoming an event and wedding planner was natural. And it's something that I love to do.
So when did you know you wanted to start events?
To be honest with you, all of my jobs, whether I was in the corporate environment or now on my own, always had an element of event management, event planning. So it always felt normal for me to be planning something, putting something together for the office, ordering something. I mean, the smallest details, that was always my role. I did a lot of marketing and communications work in my past as well, which also helped me in bridging that gap of dealing with people. It's just something that I love to do, and as a result, to me, the next logical step was to have been out on my own or doing what I do for myself.
I understand that you're from Canada you have Trinidadian parents.
I do.
Parents.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So I was born and raised in Canada. My parents are both from here, Trinidad. And what brings me back here is the fact that I'm married to a Trini. So I have been living here for 15 years now. And I'm very happy to be out of the cold of Canada, to be honest. So I do miss home, but Trinidad has also been a home because my parents used to bring us here every summer.
Because of the cold?
Well, no, for vacation, summer vacation. So Trinidad has never been a strange place for me.
Comparing the market of Canada to Trinidad and Tobago in terms of events, you want to give us a gist about that?
I really did not ever work as an event planner in Canada.
But like your observation?
But yes, I mean, my family lives there, and of course I have sisters. I'm one of 4 girls, and my sisters are also in the events business and have been in the events business. So I see the trends there, and my certification is out of Canada. So I have a lot of colleagues there as well. And because of the seasons, there are wedding times, peak times, and then off-season times. So Canada typically has to have their weddings somewhere between May and October, whereas here in Trinidad and Tobago, we can have year-round weddings. Right. The only thing that we have to be worried about here is a little rain. In Canada, they have to worry about cold and snow.
Do you see, let's talk a little bit of the government aspect of things. So when you think about the United States, you think about Canada, you think about all around, you see the simplicity. And in Trinidad, you see glitz, glams, you name it.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts about it? Because I feel like, sometimes a lot of people treat their weddings like a Grammys here.
But that's okay. There's nothing wrong. I mean, when you stop and you consider, a wedding day is a girl's dream day. She has been thinking about it and planning it almost her whole life. I mean, she was probably with magazines tucked under her bed, looking at beautiful bridal gowns and just going through every detail in her mind of what that day is going to be. So as far as I'm concerned, if the bride wants to be glitzy and glamorous, great. If she wants to be just minimalist and modern and very contemporary, good for her too, once she's happy.
What do you see as a pet peeve for weddings when you meet the clients and there's something that it happens and you see that it's trending, which you should let people know that you can't achieve, or not, I should not say can't achieve, but is a norm within the wedding industry?
So I don't think that there's any pet peeves. I believe that when clients make the investment and book a planner, the planner should be there to support them with advice. Living on an island is very different to living in Canada or in the United States with respect to what we have here versus what we don't.
Right.
So as you know, these days weddings have grown into what they are because of Pinterest, because of the internet. There are a lot of ideas that the brides come up with and present as things that they want that we can do, but not exactly like the picture, just because resources can be limited here. So for me, it's about just helping the bride temper what she's seeing and helping her realize her vision as close as possible to the picture with what we have here in Trinidad and Tobago.
What about the interest of weddings? They say we want a certain style for wedding. They have a glamorous idea, but the budget is not there. Do you work in the budgets of the bride and groom? What is the presentation like?
So to be honest, for me, when I first start out planning with clients, I don't ever ask them for a budget. My approach with them is always to tell me exactly what your vision is. Let us build a budget so that you can see what it costs to have everything you could possibly want. And based on what that bottom line figure is, you'll know whether you feel comfortable with paying this and it's not as bad as you thought it would be in terms of the cost, or whether you need to scale back. So I never ever want to curtail somebody's vision or dream by telling them they can't afford it. The first exercise is to see what's affordable.
What is the first thing and what do you think is necessary for a bride and groom to hire a wedding planner?
For me, being a professional in the industry has me in touch with what's happening. We are a team, a whole network of different professionals out there striving for the same thing, and that is to deliver dreams. As a result, I then can help brides, their family members, understand what is out there. You can get lost in the internet. You can get lost on Instagram. So the wedding planner's job is to try and kind of hold the reins and gently guide the clients into making the best decisions for what they want and what they can afford.
How do you go about planning someone's wedding?
There really is no set way.
Just an example of a daily life of a wedding planner.
On the wedding day itself?
Yeah.
So the wedding day has arrived. Obviously there has been a lot of planning, making sure all the details and the logistics are all set and in place. The day of the wedding is always me checking in on the bride to be and making sure that her hair and makeup is going well, that she feels comfortable. If there's anything that she finds is missing or she wants to talk about, that's the time for her to say something. I also spend a good part of the early morning hours making sure that all vendors are doing what they're supposed to do, and they need to be where they should be. There are times that I go out and visit with the brides or visit with their family members. I have had brides who need for me to be there with them, and I will come and work with them and ensure that everything, just reassure them that everything is all ready, it's all set, and then I get ready and head out to whether it is the temple or the church or the venue, and everything goes from there.
So tell us a day in the life of Tricia.
A weekday or weekend?
Weekday. We'll go to weekends after, I'm sure.
Well, pre-COVID, my weekdays were very different to what it is right now. Pre-COVID, I still have a young son in school, so it's getting up and getting ready for school and dropping him off and then coming back to my desk and seeing about emails, attending meetings. I normally try to structure my schedule that meetings take place while he's in school, then the pickup from school, and then more meetings, more emails, preparing quotations, just being available to my clients, switch off again, prepare dinner, feed my family, and then do a little work, and then by that time it's time to sleep.
How do you balance that switch on and switch off card?
You really do have to be very disciplined. I mean, you really have to focus on that balance, because quite often you can get lost in the stream of emails, the WhatsApp messages, the phone calls. They're just coming in at you, and you just have to know that you have specific times during the day or specific days of the week that you work, and then other times that you have no choice but to focus on your family or whatever that balance is. So I am very upfront with my clients, and I let them know that from this time to this time I'm available. I work very, very closely with a schedule. I try not to stray from my schedule, so if we have a meeting, the meeting will be on. I'm always on time. So I respect people's time, and I know my clients always try to do the same. And that way, once we have that expectation set, we can get through all of the work.
In our current society, the unforeseen circumstances that's been happening with our COVID-19 is a trend now. It's a hashtag trend. What is happening in terms of weddings?
COVID-19 has been a damper, there's no doubt. But what we have discovered out of the unfortunate circumstances that we're living in, the unprecedented times, is what is called a micro-wedding. And micro-weddings are absolutely beautiful days of your closest family and friends, depending on how many people can gather, where you seize the moment to be married. After all, getting married is why you and your fiancé are together. So I always encourage clients to, yes, plan for a larger celebration when we're able to, but right now, because there's so much uncertainty, seize what you can do. And these micro weddings, they're all different, and they're so beautiful because they're intimate and they're emotional. And really, it's about the bride and groom.
Have you seen a change from being to the big dramatic weddings to the COVID-19 weddings, like the small weddings?
Yes, of course, there's a vast change from having 200, 300 people attend your wedding and reception versus 10. But when 10 people are there, what I feel is emotion. A lot of emotion, because we're in such a close group. As opposed to having 300 people, there's a lot of emotions there too.
But half of them don't know each other.
Well, it's not that they don't know each other, but there's a lot going on. It's a lot more fast-paced. And for the bride and groom, often I hear them say it was like a whoosh. They don't know what happened because everything just happened so quickly. With the micro weddings, because it is so intimate, they can truly enjoy and remember the moments of the day.
So how do you select your vendors and as an event planner? Do you have a set list of vendors, or is it that you just choose certain people, like let's say from the clothing to the decor to the florists?
I don't have a preferred suppliers list, because my job as a planner is to understand the client's needs first and then help pair them to the vendors who I feel would work best. So there isn't ever a time where I would say, you need to have this person or you need to have this person. I first understand what the client wants and then help them find those vendors who can actually execute on what they're looking to achieve. Not everyone's style fits with the clients. So it's important for me to understand I make the clients my priority, and getting to know them and understanding exactly what they're looking for so that I can help them choose the best vendors out there.
Tell me a little bit about how you suggest a bride and groom go about planning their wedding.
Well, I mean, selfishly, of course, hire a wedding planner.
Of course.
just because having that professional walk the journey with you is so important. Often there's a lot of family dynamics. The mother of the bride who wants to be really involved. I mean, her baby is getting married. The mother of the groom, the same thing. Her baby is getting married, and then you have the couple.
It's a lot of emotions.
It is a lot of emotion. It's also a lot of opinion. And that's great because it is a very special day. And so what I find is that as a planner, I can jump in there and handle and maintain the emotion and the opinions of both sides.
So how do you tackle that? Like, what is your main goal then when you see a situation comes about and there's a lot of opinions? Let's say mother of the bride wants this, the mother of the groom wants this, the couples want something else.
Yes. So first of all, I learned my couples.
Yeah.
In the end, it's their wedding day. And I know that everybody understands that,
Correct.
Even the mothers, they do. And then what I always encourage is to have the mothers or the family members who play the most important roles with the bride and groom attend meetings. Let's sit down, let's talk about all the ideas. Let's get all the opinions on the table. Let's, let's flesh it out. And then based on that, we move forward. Because after that, most groups feel a lot more comforted that they've been able to express what they want to say. They may even ask me a lot of questions about what do I recommend or what trends am I seeing? Will this work? Will it not work? And based on my guidance, it's helpful to them.
So tell us a bit about on the wedding day after all of it. Do you sleep?
Yes.
You get to sleep?
I do.
Every afternoon?
It takes me a little while to decompress, if I can use that as a word. After I get home and showered, it's just me recounting the day and how it went and all the highlights of what I've seen and the experiences that I've felt. It really does take me a little while to settle down. The next day is also a day that I try to take for myself.
Yeah, you have to.
And regroup and recharge, because if the wedding was Saturday and I'm recharging on a Sunday, I guarantee you come Monday, we're going again.
Yeah. So when it comes to doing a wedding and you have your bride and your groom, have you done arranged marriages before?
Never done an arranged marriage, no. I've always looked upon and read about these arranged marriages, and it would be interesting, because I'm such a person who likes to communicate, it would be interesting to understand the family's perspectives on what is happening with the arranged marriage. So I think I would enjoy it, actually. It would be a challenge.
What about in terms of the culture? We live in a multicultural society.
We do.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of different type of weddings. So how do you go about, like, let's say you have a Christian wedding and then the groom is Christian, the bride is Hindu. How you complete that blend of...
Actually, I just had a wedding that I planned and coordinate with the exact example that you're giving or that you're asking about. Mm-hmm. The groom is a Hindu groom and the bride is a Catholic. Mm-hmm. So knowing that we're in COVID, they can only have 10 people, I sat down with them to help them realize what they could do. And so we had a Hindu ceremony in the morning. Everyone was completely dressed in their Indian wear and looking fabulous, even with masks on. They had a light lunch reception where they were able to do speeches and dances and cutting of the cake, and then they changed and everyone made their way to the church for a Catholic ceremony.
That's really nice.
Such an amazing day. And all through that, of course, pictures after the Catholic ceremony, pictures again. So very magical day.
And how do you feel right now when after doing an exhausting 300, 400 wedding, comparing it down to scaling it down to 10 people, maybe 20 people? Do you feel a mass difference on your body?
It's not a difference on my body as such. It's just more mental. It's really about me processing what I am doing on any given day, regardless of the size. Bigger weddings require more people, and so I have a team that works with me when weddings get to be with more quantity or a greater number of guests. So I have a team of people. That way, everyone knows their responsibilities. But the smaller weddings, of course, because we have to keep the footprint of people actually in attendance down to what the restrictions are, I do everything myself. So, I mean, I have even been at the church, and typically the groomsmen at the church will move the chairs after the bride and groom have said their vows so that they can walk back up the aisle. I do that now. I play the music at the church. Wow. Because we cannot bring in a singer or a keyboardist. We can't bring all those extra people in. It's just not allowed. So the focus and attention now on getting the job done is really all on me for the smaller weddings.
So when we have weddings, and the problem is right now with a lot of people not able to attend weddings.
Yeah.
What is a solution for that? What do you think we can do?
It's a very good question, and I highly recommend that with all of the micro weddings that we are planning these days is to have the couple consider live streaming services. The live streaming is the best way for family and friends, locally, internationally, to actually see your wedding happening, feel like they're a part of it. I've had couples even send little gifts to their local guests to make them feel like they're a part of the wedding itself. And it also helps that if you have older guests, it keeps them safe. Because under the circumstances that we're in, if they were invited and able to attend, I don't know how many of them would, just because they wouldn't want to risk it. So having the live streaming is such an important element of the micro wedding these days. I highly recommend it.
So in closing, what advice do you have to give to the bride and grooms out there?
My advice is keep planning, keep hoping. This is your wedding day. Keep dreaming. We don't know what's going to happen. We really don't. And so I have been trying to work with clients to help them understand how they could seize the moment, seize the day, be married, start your lives together, and then when the time is right, and once we can gather again, have that larger celebration. But don't keep putting it off. Don't keep putting it off. Have your wedding. Get married.
And hire a wedding planner.
And hire a wedding planner, yes.
Thank you, Tricia, for coming out and joining me on Coffee and Lipstick with Neha. It was a really, really lovely conversation. It's a touchy subject, I must say, for a lot of people, because I know a lot of people have split off their weddings because of this. And this is one reason why I asked you to come here, because I feel the pain for a lot of people saying, well, I mean, me also being in that business, I have postponed my wedding. I've also seen weddings completely cancelled. It's devastating, like completely couples broke up because of the delay of the whole COVID-19. It's a bit harsh, things happen. And I wanted you to encourage them that you should still do your wedding, and you did that, and giving a importance of why we should have a wedding planner.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. As Tricia rightfully said, don't wait for that grand moment for your wedding. Get married. Even if it's a micro wedding, get married. You can always have your date in a later time of the year, but it's very necessary to hit your points for your wedding. Hire an event planner. Know what you're about. Know what you want. Don't give up on your dreams. And of course, be yourself and give yourself the best that you can. So till then, I hope to join you at another episode of Coffee and Lipstick with Neha. Stay tuned.